I have wanted to do a Glee related video for such a long time now, and I'm finally accomplishing my dream. Glee is a show that I have a very special relationship with. There was a period of time where I would rewatch it at least once during the year for 8 years straight, so I know this show like the back of my hand. So today, instead of doing a regular retrospective or an analysis video like everyone else does, I want to do something a little different, a little fun for the girls. I want to look back at Glee's most insane and diabolical episodes to ever exist, and there's quite a lot, so we're only going to do the top 3 insane episodes per season. And best believe this was no easy feat. These episodes were fighting each other for the most absurd television storylines of all time, but I'm still gonna watch it every single time. I chose these episodes based on storylines, song choices, and how much Will irritated me that particular episode. This is part 1, so we're only gonna be doing seasons 1 through 3 in this video, which also happens to be the only seasons that exist in my mind. 4 through 6? Never heard of it. Before we begin our dive into the madness, let's do a quick summary into the icon that was Glee. Glee was a musical comedy on Fox that ran from 2009 to 2015. This show became a massive commercial success and a pop culture phenomenon in the early 2010s that led to Billboard Hot 100 entries, controversial magazine covers, a successful spin-off competition show, live concert tours, and a dedicated fan base, the Gleeks. You really had to be there when this show was on the air, and no matter how much I try to describe the force that it will never be enough. As I've gotten older, I revisit this show a lot less, but it will forever hold a very special place in my heart, and it will be a top pop culture phenomenon for generations to come. Okay, let's not waste any more time, people. Are we ready? Let's get started. Wait. Is that backwards? Oh well. So season 1 of Glee happens to be my second favorite season of the show. The first 13 episodes are just television excellence, and then after that, I just don't care. At number 1, I have episode 3, Acapellas. In this episode, Will and Terry are having dinner with his parents, and everything is going fine until he opens his big mouth and tells them they're having a baby. Some key info here is that Terry thought she was pregnant, but she's actually not, but she told Will she was anyways because he's been cozying up with Emma at school. Back at the school, Will is teaching the kids some new dance moves, but they hate it here because he's a terrible choreographer. So Rachel tells him that they need to get Dakota Stanley, a winning choreographer that works with vocal adrenaline, to make some routines for them since Quinn and Santana told her to. Some more key info is that Sue is trying to dismantle the Glee Club because she's tired of their random performances down the hallway, and she wants her budget money back, so she uses the Cheerios in the club to bring it down. Will is super nervous about his new baby coming, and since the kids don't want him anymore, he's just going around telling everyone his business. He has a little venting session with the boys in the teacher's lounge where everyone lets their hair down. One of the teachers cut off his thumbs because he took way too much cough medicine, and Howard tries to cheer him up with a thumbs up cake. So they all sing him a little song to make him feel better.
For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's the jolly good fellow that nobody can deny.
Hey, that was pretty good.
So Will decides to make a boy band with them, I guess. And the name they settled on was Acapellas, which is a choice. One thing that they all agreed on is that they don't want Sandy to be in the group with them because he's weird. And if I have to hear Will sing this one more time,
This is how we do it.
Terry gets to work on actually trying to get pregnant, so her and Will are getting it on like once a week. That's a lot for them. But it's not happening. Will isn't coming back to the Glee Club because Acapellas is taking up all of his time, so the kids come up with a plan to try to get Dakota Stanley. Finn isn't having it, so he tells Rachel that she's being stupid, and she's like, "You're done."
What happened between us in the auditorium was real. You have feelings for me, and you just don't have the guts to admit it. We're hiring Dakota Stanley.
Even if it means me quitting?
Yes.
Mercedes has been feeling very lonely and she low-key wants a boyfriend, so Kurt tells her to get up and remember that she's that girl. He says they'll go on a little trip to the mall to get some cute clothes for their Get Dakota Stanley to be our new choreographer plan. Quinn and Santana see them talking and tell her to shoot her shot with Kurt since he clearly likes her. The Acafellas have their first performance at a bar with an uncomfortable cover of Poison. Well, it was uncomfortable for me.
On movie day.
That girl is never trust the big button to smile.
Emma, on the other hand, thought it was a Grammys-worthy performance, and Terry's getting a little suspicious of her. The Acafellas start selling some CDs and whatnot, and people actually buy them, so it was a semi-success. Principal Figgins tells Will that he wants to book them for the next PTA meeting, so they're booked and busy now. The next day, the boys talk about what a great night they had, and Sandy tells them he needs to be in the group if they want Grammy nom Josh Groban to come to the performance because they're good friends and he's looking for an opening act. But the boys say he's still not invited to the group. The kids go on their field trip to Get Dakota, and Mercedes asks Kurt to hang out sometime, and he obviously says yes. Tina and Rachel are looking at each other like, you see this too, right? They all walk in on a vocal adrenaline practice, and I absolutely love this number. The kids find Dakota and he tells them he charges $8,000 per number. And they're like, oh. Will and Ken are practicing for their upcoming Acafellas performance, and Emma tells them that Henri and Howard aren't coming back, so now they're screwed. Finn tells Will that he's quitting Glee because everyone's kind of crazy. And since Will is desperate to have his boy band, he asks Finn, of all people, to join it. And then 5 seconds later, Puck also wants to join in on it so he can get with some good-looking moms. Rachel and Tina don't want to have Mercedes looking dumb by going after a gay boy, so they try to talk some sense into her. And she tells them he's not gay, he just likes to dress up to class. So Mercedes tells Kurt that she's super happy that they're now dating, and he's like, you're dating who?
I'm sorry, Mercedes, but I thought I made it very clear. I'm in love with someone else. Rachel?
How did you come to that conclusion? He's like, yeah, I've literally liked her for years. So she gets mad and throws a rock at his car window. We then get my absolute favorite number of the entire episode.
I bust the windows out your car, and no, it didn't mean my broken heart.
Can I say, Mercedes and the Cheerios were absolutely eating on the choreo here. But I'm supposed to believe that Rachel has been dancing since she was 3? Okay. The kids have their first rehearsal with Dakota, and he gets to work on making some changes immediately.
Artie, you're cut. You're not trying hard enough.
At what?
At walking. Can't be wheeling you around during every number. It throws off the whole dynamic, and it's depressing.
So you're kicking him out?
Also you. You just gotta go, Effie.
His drag for Finn is quite funny, I'm not gonna lie.
Hold on a second.
What was that, Frankentine? Why don't you wipe that dopey look off your face and get some lotion for those knuckles you've been dragging on the ground?
So the kids fire him because they realize they're perfect just the way they are and all that, so they're done with him. Will does the PTA performance for Acafellas with Sandy, Finn, and Puck, which is way more polished than their first. But it's still very weird to me because they chose this song to perform with teenage boys.
'Cause I've been dying for you, girl, to make love to me.
This only being episode 3 is tiring. Josh Groban meets them and tells them their performance was great. And he also has a little message for Sandy.
I came here to tell you.
Yes, sir.
Stop emailing me. This is a restraining order. Stop sending me nude photos. Stop calling me. I don't know how you got my number. I don't know how you got my number again after I changed it. But I don't want any more of your edible gift baskets or locks of your hair.
So, Acafellas is dead now. Mercedes apologizes to Kurt for breaking his window, and she says that she'll pay for it. But even more, she wishes him and Rachel well on their new relationship, and he's like, yeah, about that.
I don't like Rachel. I'm gay.
Why didn't you just tell me?
I get that Mercedes is lonely and that it's also 2009, but we don't have any evidence of her being dumb. So how did she not think he was gay? But she supports him and says that he should just be himself and tell all the people that he cares about, but he's not ready for all that yet. Sue is pissed at Quinn and Santana for not ruining that club and takes away their tanning privileges. The kids and Will are back to rehearsing together and all is good again. Okay, so the second craziest episode of season 1 to me is the next episode, Preggers. We really got back-to-back episode antics here. This episode, Kurt is doing a little performance of Single Ladies with Brittany and Tina in his basement. Now, why did they put them next to Brittany, who knows the choreo like the back of her hand because she was on tour with Beyonce the year prior? This was a setup. Bert comes down and sees them dancing downstairs and is quite confused, so Kurt tells him that it's just a warm-up for his upcoming football game. Yeah, because that makes sense. So now Bert is gonna come see one of his games and Kurt's like, well damn, now I gotta join the football team. Terry is still faking her pregnancy, but she cannot take the lies anymore and she wants to tell her sister about it.
Kendra, have I told you something? Would you promise not to tell anybody? Not even Phil?
Oh my God. Is the baby black?
What did you mean by that? So Kendra comes up with a little plan to save her sister's marriage. She's gonna find a baby for her to take. Will is having lunch with Emma and Ken and she tells them that she saw Sue on the news and she even has her own talk show now.
Caning works. And I think it's about time we did a little more of it right here. And to all those naysayers out there who say that's illegal, you can't strike children on their bare buttocks with razor-sharp bamboo sticks. Well, to them I say, yes, we cane. And that's how Sue sees it.
And like clockwork, Sue comes by to tell them they're a bunch of losers with sucky lunches and an even suckier life. I see no lies here. The kids are at Glee rehearsal and Rachel is throwing another fit because Tina's getting the solo this week and she's not going to be disrespected in front of her peers, so she storms out. Kurt asks Finn for some help to get onto the football team and Finn says okay, so they get to work quickly. Kurt wants to do his regular Single Ladies choreo warm-up for his tryout and Finn is like, yeah, you're not bringing that nonsense over here, but Kurt does it anyways. Look how he ate that. There was just something about season 1 Kurt. He had so much flavor. What happened? Since the football team sucks and they need all the help they can get, Kurt makes a team. A guy from the news company tells Sue that they hired her because she's a winning cheerleading coach, but she's losing her members to the Glee club and she needs to do something about it. Quinn is not having a good day because she tells Finn that she's pregnant. And Finn is quite confused because they never slept together and she's like, well, it was when we were making out in the hot tub.
Oh no. Oh.
Think of the mail. Think of the mail. Think of the
Oh. But we were wearing our swimsuits.
As Jude said, a hot tub is the perfect temperature for sperm. It helps it swim faster.
And since he's an idiot, he believes her. Sue convinces Sandy to help her take down the Glee club by giving him the arts administrator job at the school. And he's confused because he knows that Principal Figgins would never let that happen. And she's like, oh, I took care of that.
Vascular embolisms are a serious hazard on long-distance flights, so make sure to stretch your legs every hour to keep blood from clotting. For additional protection, anti-embolism stockings can be purchased from your flight attendants. और याद रखिए, मुंबई एयरलाइन कभी क्रैश नहीं करती, बहुत कम करती.
Well, I would hate to think of this video circulating around the school.
Sue would be nothing without some light blackmailing. So they band together to put on a musical of Cabaret to get Rachel away from the Glee club, and obviously, she auditions.
And hope for hell to pay. What do you say? What do you say?
She ate that one little thing. Rachel tells Will that she's kinda over Glee because she deserves the star treatment and he's too stupid to see she's the most talented one there. Tina is practicing her solo, but she's not doing too good, so she tells Will to give it to Rachel so everyone can be happy again. 3 seconds later, Finn comes storming and crying and whatnot without an explanation. Sir, you are way too tall to be jumping into people's arms like that. You almost knocked him over. Finn tells Will that Quinn's pregnant and he's freaking out because he doesn't want to be a Lima loser. And he's also also trying to go to college on a football scholarship, so he asks Will to help the team out with loosening up a bit so they can actually start winning some games for once. Will tells Terry about Quinn being pregnant and how the whole thing is so sad. And she's low-key happy because she's now found a baby. Will talks to the football team about taking some dance lessons and they're not going for it. But Ken makes them anyways because what else do they have to lose? And Puck is doing way too much here because he doesn't want to learn some moves.
Losing because you don't have the right attitude. Oh, I get it. We have to think more like Amazonian black women.
Okay. Puck finds out from Finn that Quinn's pregnant and he's confused because he knows they didn't sleep together. Oh, but he slept with her. So Puck finds Quinn and goes on and on about how he would take care of the baby and take care of her.
My dad's a deadbeat, but I don't roll that way.
Weren't you fired for being in the fast food fry later?
I've got my pool cleaning business.
We live in Ohio.
She says she'll go to her grave saying it's Finn's because at least Finn's not a loser like him. She runs to her car and Terry's also in there to talk to her about getting her baby. It's now time for the football game and the team is still mad about having dance rehearsal all week.
Oh, I think we really came together this week as a team.
Yeah, a gay team. A big gay team of dancing gays.
I didn't know it was gay to have rhythm. Who would have thought? So the game goes on and the team is losing bad. So Finn is like, all right, time for the Beyonce choreo. The end pose was just nasty. They end up scoring because the other team was bamboozled and Kurt finished it off with a swift kick and they win the game. So what I gather from this is that listening to Beyonce helps you win football games, right? That sounds about correct. Bert tells Kurt that was a weird night, but he did great at the game. And Kurt finally comes out to him and Bert is like, but we already knew that.
I'm gay.
I know.
Really?
I've known since you were 3. All you wanted for your birthday was a pair of sensible heels.
But anyways, Bert says he loves him no matter what, and Kurt feels closer to his dad now, so good for him. Finn tells Quinn he's gonna step up and be a good father to their baby, and she loves him for that. Mike, Puck, and Matt join the Glee Club because they love doing some intense choreo this past week. And Mr. Shu gives Tina the solo after Rachel told him not to, so she quits. Okay, so one of the most diabolical, insane, and quite concerning episodes of season 1 is episode 6, Vitamin D. Will is trying to get the kids prepped for sectionals, but they're not worried because they know it's going to be a clean sweep since they're going against deaf kids and girls from juvie. And Will is getting really mad that they're not taking it seriously. So he talks to Emma about it and they're kind of flirting a bit. Sue overhears them talking and she's just tired of their yapping, so she gives her 2 cents on what he should do.
And kick him out.
Yeah, well, in Glee Club, we do things a little bit differently.
Oh, yeah, Will? How's that working out for you? You have to remember something. We're dealing with children. They need to be terrified. It's like mother's milk to them. Without it, their bones won't grow properly. So if you want results with a kid, you find that competitive animal within and unleash it.
So Will does what he always does, takes someone else's idea and pretends that it was his all along so he can tell himself that he's a genius. So the weekly assignment for the kids is to come up with a mashup performance and they're gonna compete against each other, boys against girls. Sue is still hard at work trying to get rid of Will in the Glee Club, but she remembers that she saw him and Emma keying together a little too closely. So she tells Terry that she needs to get her man. So the next day, she comes to the school to get a nursing job with no nursing background. And since Principal Figgins is an idiot, he hires her. Terry walks in on one of Will and Emma's very deep conversations, and she's like, yeah, that's enough of that.
Well, isn't this a surprise?
Terry, what are you doing here?
Hi, I don't think we've been properly introduced. I'm Terry Schuster, Will's pregnant wife. Hi. Oh, honey, someone got a little lipstick on your cup. I got it.
I'm not mad at this. Rachel is trying to gather the girls for their competition against the boys, but they're not worried because who's afraid of the boys? Finn has been really tired all the time from school, I guess, and he's been sleeping off in all of his classes. So he goes to the nurse to take a little nap there, and he runs into Terry there. And he tells her why he's been super tired all the time.
Football plays, girls, dance steps. Girls.
Girls? But you're dating Quinn Fabray.
Yeah, but do you think a guy can be into two girls at once?
No.
She doesn't let him take that nap, but instead, she gives him a little quote-unquote energy pill to perk him up. And Finn loves that stuff.
Hey guys, how's it going? God, it's a beautiful day. Let's run through the number. I can't wait to do the number. I'm ready and excited. You guys stand up. Come on, let's get this joint jumping. Nope, just visited the school nurse. Got this great vitamin. I feel fantastic. I can't wait to do the number. Let's do the number, and then afterwards we can build a house for Habitat for Humanity.
What kind of vitamin?
Vitamin C. Vogue magazine says it boosts energy levels and brightens the complexion.
Vitamin D. And I got you guys some.
Yeah, but how did he get the whole box? Now that the boys are hopped up on drugs, their performance is actually very good. The choreo was eating. Well, that's because Mike and Matt carried it, but what else is new? I also need to give Artie his 10s for his confessions verse.
Damn near cried when I got that phone call. I'm so thrown. I don't know what to do but to give her to mine.
Y'all know that was Artie's contribution to the group. The boys know nothing about R&B excellence. Now the girls are scrambling because the boys ate a little too good, and now they're a little suspicious. Terry calls Howard and tells him to get like 50 more boxes of decongestant so she can keep the kids alert. Ken comes in crying to Terry about Will taking Emma away from him, and she tells him to get up and do something about it. So she tells him to propose to Emma so they can keep Will and Emma away from each other. Rachel finds out that the boys were on something and she's pissed that they cheated. And Finn's like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. So the girls then go to Terry to get some of those drugs too, and Rachel's a little concerned about it.
Are you sure we should be doing this? Oh, it's over the counter. It's safe. You can trust me. I'm a nurse. It's good for you.
Don't you just love it when the fake school nurse is practically running a drug ring in the school? So now that the girls got their dose too, they're ready for the stage. Ken ends up proposing to Emma, but his proposal is very much giving loser.
You won't ride in my car. I can't touch you above the wrist. Remember you cried for an hour that one time my elbow accidentally brushed by your breast.
The girls perform their mashup and it's too good. They're performing for their spot in that club. The choreography here is insane. They're fighting for their lives. And the ending is just exquisite. Look how they ate that. Terry finds Emma in her office and tells her to stay away from Will and to just marry Ken so she doesn't die alone. So Emma says yes to his proposal, but she has a couple of conditions.
And I'd want to continue living in different parts of town. And I think it would be best if we didn't see each other after school.
Sure.
And I wouldn't want a big ceremony, you know, like in a church or with people. We wouldn't have to invite anybody, you know, or tell anybody. Actually, it could be more like a secret, you know, like a secret marriage.
Quinn tells Terry that she'll give her and Will her baby because she's not trying to be a mother. Terry gets in trouble at the school for drugging the kids, and Figgins found out because Howard got arrested for getting the drugs in bulk. So Terry gets fired, and Figgins blames Will for the entire thing and is gonna bring someone to co-chair the Glee Club. Even though I couldn't cover all the episodes I wanted to for season 1, I do have a couple of honorable mentions. I have episode 7, Throwdown, for Sue segregating the kids based on race, sexual orientation, and disability, which I'm not that mad at. She was just showing that these were the kids that had all the seasoning of the club. And also Will saying this:
You were right to shine the spotlight on the fact that those kids are minorities. Because you're all minorities. You're in the Glee Club.
He deserves to be in jail for that one alone. And don't think I forgot about Rachel's annoying antics here too.
Can we maybe try something a little more black?
I agree. We do an awful lot of show tunes.
It's Glee Club, not Crunk Club.
She clearly wasn't beat up enough as a kid, because why was she so comfortable saying this so loud? I also have episode 9, Ballad, because Rachel has a crush on Will and bakes him treats and stuff, and she does his cleaning at the house. Finn also thought it was a good idea to sing to Quinn's parents about knocking up their daughter like he's auditioning to get into the next round of X Factor. Okay, not for season 2. Season 2 is my absolute favorite season of Glee for the Warblers and the Warblers alone.
Party on our own. So raise your glass if you are, and all the right
I know their backs were hurting from carrying this season. And because they were the best part, none of the craziest episodes involved them, so they will go unseen in this video. So the first episode of season 2, I have episode 1. Audition. Jacob Ben Israel is running an online blog about the Glee Club, and he goes around asking everyone very important questions.
How do you respond to a recent post on my blog saying your Glee Club song selections sound like they come from a drag queen's iPod?
Well, I try to do something for everybody. 25% show tunes, 25% hip-hop, 25% classic rock.
100% gay.
Figgins tells Will and Sue that their budgets are being cut to make room for the new football coach, Shannon, to help bring in some wins for the team. Sue says she will not stand for this, and she's going to take matters into her own hands. Will is now scrambling because he needs new members to join the Glee Club since Matt mysteriously left, but because Glee is still at the bottom of the social chain, no one wants to join. So he has the kids do an impromptu number in the courtyard to rally up some kids, and shockingly he lets them do it with a modern number. Oh, the kids came out the gate swinging with this number. I do have a question. Why do they always have Artie doing the raps?
Yeah, I'm out that Brooklyn. Now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to De Niro, but I've been hood forever.
The number was great. The kids really pulled out all the stops, and I live for Santana's body roll here. They got a couple of foot taps and nods, but overall no one moved, and I don't blame them. Why are y'all breaking out into song during my lunch break? Will and Sue band together to get rid of Shannon so they can get their budget money back. Rachel goes into the bathroom to put up some Glee sign-up sheets, and she runs into a girl in there.
Oh, hello. I couldn't help but notice you admiring me yesterday in the courtyard.
What?
Oh, you don't speak English. You like me sing. You like me sing very much.
I think Sunshine was within her rights to wrap her earphone cord around Rachel's neck. Sunshine starts singing a little, and Rachel's pissed because she can low-key sing a little better than her, so they end up having a sing-off to Lady Gaga's telephone. My telephone. My telephone. Sunshine now wants to join the club, and Rachel's like, let me get back to you. Will and Sue start their get rid of Shannon plan by ordering 25 pizza boxes using her name to embarrass her in front of the team. It doesn't really work though, because she just makes the boys eat all of it and do laps after. Artie is trying to get Tina back because she's now dating Mike, and he wants to do that by joining the football team. So he asks Finn to help him. Finn talks to this guy Sam who just joined the football team to get him to audition for the Glee Club since he saw him tapping his foot a little bit. So Sam sings Billionaire with the boys and they're all jamming. They really came out the gate swinging with hits on the first episode, and Artie really carried this duet. The Glee Club should be very lucky that Artie was in a chair, or else he would have gotten all of the solos. I'm sorry. It's very rare that I give the boys their 10s, but this is probably my second favorite performance of this episode for this moment alone. I felt that one in my soul, guys. Rachel tells Mercedes and Kurt that they need to keep Sunshine out of their club because she'll steal all of their solos. And they tell her to stop being a weirdo because they could use all the help they could get. And RIP to the Kurt and Mercedes iconic duo. This will be one of the last few sightings of them together. Rachel tells Sunshine she should come and audition and even gives her some directions to the auditorium. Shannon realizes that Will and Sue have been playing with her, so she goes off on Will.
Everybody told me that Sue was a school bully and that you were really cool. I see they got that last part wrong, huh?
I don't know who said Will was cool. They clearly should be fired for having really bad judgment. Finn comes in the locker room to tell Shannon about Artie joining the team, and she's already had enough of Will's antics, so when Finn comes in the locker room asking stupid questions, she's had enough and kicks him off the team. Sue finds out that Santana got a boob job and she's pissed, so she demotes her from head Cheerio.
Oh, and Boobs McGee? You're demoted to the bottom of the pyramid. So when it collapses, your exploding sandbags will protect the squad from injury.
Ah, I love a Sue insult. So now she puts Quinn back on the team, and this is where we get the most iconic scene of this episode.
You did this to me. You told Coach Sylvester about my summer surgery.
You have a surgery when you get your appendix out. You got a boob job.
Yep, sure did.
You can't hit me.
Well, sure I can, unless you got yourself knocked up again, slut. Stop the violence.
This is what I mean when I say this is pop culture excellence, people. Sue tricks Brittany into saying that Shannon SA'd her so she'll get fired. Will sees this and is tired, so he tells Brittany that lying is bad, and she says that she made the whole thing up. So now Will and Sue are enemies again. Rachel ended up sending Sunshine to a crack house so she wouldn't outshine her and take her spotlight. And the kids are tired of Rachel and her weekly attempts of sabotaging everyone. So she actually for real invites Sunshine to audition, and Sunshine absolutely eats. And if I say this is top 10 best performances of the show, I'd be correct. Sam doesn't come to another audition because being in Glee will make him a loser, and he cannot possibly ruin his rep because he's the new quarterback. Sunshine doesn't end up joining Glee because vocal adrenaline scooped her up, and now everyone hates Rachel again, the way it should be. The second most absurd episode of season 2, which also happens to be my favorite episode of the entire show, episode 2. Brittany. Will is teaching the kids yet another musical lesson. The kids are tired of doing Will's tired old white people music and want to do something fun. They want to do a Brittany week. And since Will is an uptight loser, he says no. Brittany also says that she doesn't want to do Brittany this week because her name is also Britney Spears.
My middle name is Susan, my last name is Pierce. That makes me Brittany S. Pierce, Britney Spears. I've lived my entire life in Britney Spears' shadow. I will never be as talented or as famous.
Will tells Emma about the kids wanting to do Brittany, and she also says that he's boring and needs to live a little bit. She's also now dating Carl, who's a rich dentist. And Will kind of hates him because he's poor and Carl stole Emma from him. But Emma really likes him because he's actually fun to be around, unlike Will, who has no friends or hobbies outside of the Glee kids. Will invites Carl to talk to the kids about having good dental habits for some reason, and Carl says he's down. Finn is having a hard time since being kicked off the team and feels like a loser now. Carl makes the kids do a dental test, and everyone but Rachel, Artie, and Brittany passes. Brittany's teeth are absolutely terrible, so Carl tells her to come by the office later that day so he can fix her up because she's just embarrassing to look at. He puts her under anesthesia, and she has a dream where she's performing Slave for You by Brittany, and she absolutely eats on the choreo. Give Brittany a dance number and she serves In the Zone track 12 every time. I'm not joking, guys. Like, do you see this face card? Like, this is what we need. Brittany has an epiphany and realizes she's that girl, so she clowns Rachel in front of Finn and he says nothing. He's just really tired of her being all happy that he's now not on the football team anymore. Brittany brings Santana to Carl's office so she too can experience the Brittany high like her, and they have a dream performing a top 5 Brittany song, Me Against the Music.
No one cares. It's whipping my hair, it's pulling my waist. To hell with stairs. The sweat is dripping all over my face.
This is one of the best choreo moments of the entire show. I need this outfit in my closet now. Why Brittany wasn't the star of every performance is yet another thing I hate Will for. We also get the first actual Brittany sighting in the show. Kurt goes on another rant about them wanting to do Brittany, and Will says no because she's inappropriate, so Kurt calls him an uptight loser, so he kicks Kurt out of the class. Well, at least he looked good while he was leaving. Rachel also goes into Carl's office and has a Brittany fantasy of Baby One More Time.
My loneliness is killing me.
She needs to never do another Britney song for the rest of her life. I'm being so serious. She comes to school dressed all sexy, and Finn isn't trying to have her walking around like that. Will also goes into Carl's office for a checkup, and for some reason he tells Carl that he wants Emma back, and Carl's like, well, she's with me and doesn't want you because you're boring. So he buys a new Corvette to impress her, but Terry shows up to put a stop to all of this nonsense. Sue finds Jacob Ben Israel pleasing himself to Rachel's baby outfit, so she tells Will that he needs to stop with his Britney shenanigans just because he's going nowhere in life. So again, because Sue came up with it, Will now wants to do Brittany, but he also wants to perform with them as a way to get Emma back. We get another Brittany sighting, but in a Cheerios uniform, which she looks absolutely amazing in. Artie also has a Brittany dream for Stronger where he's on the football team, but he could have kept this in the drafts. Let's just stick to the R&B hits for him. Artie tells Finn that he wants to join the team because he had a dream about it and Finn wants no part. But Shannon says they can join anyways. Rachel is not happy about him being on the team again, but he's like, I don't know what you want me to do about that. There's a school assembly for something, I'm not exactly sure what it is, and Will performs a Britney song with the kids. Of all songs, why would you as a teacher not only perform this, but y'all practiced it multiple times and you saw absolutely nothing wrong with doing this with children? Jail isn't bad enough. The performance is very sexual and Sue can't take this Britney Spears sex riot any longer. So she pulls the fire alarm and everyone runs for their life and tramples over Sue. Sue comes back the next day wearing a neck brace and says she's gonna sue Will for everything he owns. Which isn't that much, but go off. Rachel tells Quinn to flirt with Finn as a test, but Finn doesn't fall for it. So she trusts him being on the football team. Now the most concerning episode of season 2, without a doubt, is episode 11, the Sue Sylvester Shuffle. Sue is prepping the Cheerios for nationals by planning an elaborate routine, but it's just not doing it for her. So her big idea to get that nationals trophy is to use a cannon in the routine.
You're looking at about a 70% chance of catastrophic failure.
Which is a 30% chance of catastrophic success. This is the button, right?
No!
The football team is slightly better now, but they're still losing a lot because they have a very big problem with the guys in Glee and they don't want to work with them. And Shannon is tired of the boys embarrassing her in front of the whole town, and they have an upcoming championship game, so Will invites the team to join Glee for a week as a trust exercise for them, and no one is happy about it. Rachel and Puck then sing a duet, and song-wise, I don't care much for it. Sue shows the Cheerios the new cannon she got, and Brittany is going to be the one to be flung from it. And obviously, Brittany is not that happy about it, and Sue tells her there's nothing to worry about. It's just like a roller coaster.
Fine. Put your toddler fist-sized mind at rest. We'll do one final test run. Any of you take German? I may have to read the owner's manual.
She also tells Will and Shannon that she moved regionals to the same day as the football game so they can kiss their Cheerios goodbye. So Will comes up with an idea to do a halftime performance at the game with everyone, including the footballers, singing and dancing. And the kids are real excited about it because they're performing the halftime show song, Thriller. Everyone starts prepping with zombie dance lessons from Mike and putting on zombie makeup, and Will tells Karofsky that he's really good. I don't know why you would sit there and lie to him. That man has no rhythm whatsoever. Quinn, Brittany, and Santana are conflicted because they really want to do the performance, but if they do, they're off the Cheerios, and Sue overhears them talking about their little dilemma.
Well, I typed these up for you, ladies. Requiring your signature, tendering your resignation from the Glee Club. Oh, and Brittany, here's a note for you, handwritten and in crayon from the human cannon, saying how much it misses you.
Coach, that cannon is gonna get Brittany killed. Is that really worth it just to win a stupid national championship?
7th consecutive stupid national championship. Ladies, I am giving you the chance right now to choose once and for all where your true loyalties lie. Choose the Cheerios or choose the Glee Club.
So the girls quit Glee. Finn starts yelling at Quinn down the hallway, calling her a traitor and stuff, and she's like, sorry, it's above me. Sam sees them arguing and tells him to back off his girl, and they start fighting, sorta kinda, and Will breaks it up. The football team now feels very confident with their performance skills and strut down the hallway with their zombie makeup on. The hockey team sees them and throws a slushie in their face. The boys can't handle a little sting in their eye, and they don't want to do the performance anymore, and Shannon says anyone that doesn't do the performance is kicked off the team. So Everyone leaves except for the Glee boys. With only half of the football team now, they might need a forfeit, but the girls say they'll fill in for them. And since they don't have much of a choice, Shannon's cool with it. We also get one of my absolute favorite numbers from the Warblers.
Can you pay my telephone bills? Do you pay my automobiles? If you did, then maybe we could chill. I don't think you do. So you and me are through.
I'm literally not exaggerating when I say that the Warblers saved season 2's music catalog. Brittany is terrified of going in the cannon and smashing right into the ground, but Sue doesn't care about her safety. She says if she doesn't fly from that cannon, they'll lose and it'll be all her fault. So Brittany signs the consent form. The girls are doing their thing at the game, but it's no help because they're still losing really bad. But there's no time to be sad. It's time for the halftime show performance. Puck finds the boys and tells them they're a bunch of losers for not standing up and playing in the game. And they want to win that championship, so the boys gear up for the halftime show. Finn tries to convince the girls to do the performance with them, and they're like, fuck it, let's do it. So now it's officially halftime show performance time.
Up with your head. Dance, dance, dance till you're dead. Up with your head.
How they got the budget for light, fog machines, a concert level sound system, and a live band is beyond me. But there's no logic in Glee. Just music. The rest of the game goes and the team wins. Sue ends up losing nationals and gets interviewed by Katie Couric, who calls her America's biggest loser. Because Sue tried to off a student by throwing her out of a cannon, the rest of her budget goes to Will. Quinn tells Finn what a great leader he was this week, and they end up kissing even though she's with Sam. I do have quite a few honorable mentions for season 2 because there was just a lot to choose from. I have episode 3 grilled cheeses because Finn worships a grilled cheese with an image of Jesus on it the entire time. There was also episode 5 Rocky Horror Glee Show because Will makes the kids do Rocky Horror even though it's not kid friendly, all to impress Emma. I also had episode 12 Silly Love Songs because Santana figured out that Finn and Quinn were hooking up by giving them mono via a sick kid in the nurse's office. Episode 14 almost made the list and it's also a personal favorite of mine. Rachel was trying to write an original song but she had no life experience, so she threw a party for the kids to get super drunk. She kisses Blaine and now she likes him, and Blaine also thinks he's now bi. Principal Figgins also said this:
Pop music now glorifies binge drinking. Just listen to any hit by pop sensation Key $sign Ha.
You mean Kesha?
But like I said, this episode is a favorite of mine because the kids do blame it on the alcohol.
Popping bottles with the Henny in the cup, screaming money ain't a thing if you ain't throw it up in the sky. And hold your drinks up high.
This song is so good. Whenever I want to listen to Blame It on the Alcohol, I do not listen to the one with T-Pain and Jamie Foxx. I only know Glee. The last one I have is episode 21, not because it has a bad storyline, but because it has my favorite line of the entire show that is just as diabolical.
Expert computer hacker, and you bring me this.
Do I get a supervillain nickname?
Your nickname is Panda Express.
But I'm not Chinese.
Neither is the food at Panda Express.
Okay. Now for season 3. I feel like in terms of chaos and tomfoolery, season 3 is pretty tame, so we didn't really have any eyebrow raising moments from it, but we still got a little something from it. So because of that, I only have 2 episodes here that I find to be very weird and chaotic. The first one I have is episode 4, Pot of Gold. This kid Rory from Ireland is new to the school and convinces Brittany that he's a leprechaun. He spends the entire episode trying to make all her wishes come true so he can try to sleep with her, but he's not that important because I don't care about him. He joins a Glee club later in the episode, so I'm just gonna move on from him. Sue is running for senator and tells the viewers of her talk show to send angry voicemails about the Glee club's existence and how it's a waste of time because the students are still stupid. So Figgins cuts the musical budget because he got attacked by a parent in the parking lot. So now Will has to find a way to pay for the musical himself. Mercedes left the Glee club for the Trouble Tones and everyone is scrambling because they're gonna lose sectionals without her.
No, I will not let this setback crush our spirits. I mean, we have handled worse.
Than losing one of our best singers.
Kind of hard not to blame you, Mr. Shu. Think you were too hard on her at booty camp.
I see no lies here. He tried to convince us that Mercedes couldn't dance, but Rachel could? Don't piss me off. Blaine is now part of the New Directions and everyone low-key hates him, but they should be thanking him for saving their performances instead of yelling at him.
Now, we shouldn't be turning on each other.
I agree. I can only speak from my experience with the Warblers, but no show choir is just one person, it's a team. When we lost a Warbler, we just replaced him with another one.
Which is easy when your waiting list has a waiting list. Dude, I know you're a big deal at Dalton or whatever, but we don't wear blazers here, so have a seat. I'm trying to give a pep talk.
Didn't you just say something about us not turning on each other?
I personally think Blaine should have challenged him to a musical duel because Finn is acting a little too bold right now. Since Will is poor and can't pay for the musical himself, he comes up with yet another plan for the kids to raise money by selling ads in the program. Shelby is trying to let Puck and Quinn be in Beth's life more. For what reason? I'm not sure. So she lets Puck and Quinn babysit Beth, and Quinn plants stuff around her apartment to make her look like a terrible parent. And she's gonna call CPS to get her baby back, and Puck is like, oh, okay. Bert somehow convinces these men to write a check big enough to save the musical, so I guess it's back on now. Sue is tired of people trying to stop her from getting rid of the Glee Club, so now her and Bert are enemies. Blaine does a number in class, which I'm not sure why, as there seems to be no weekly assignment. And Santana is already tired of him. She's not trying to be backup to Blaine and Rachel all year, so she wants out. She catches on to Rory trying to trick Brittany, so she makes him convince her to leave the New Directions and join the Trouble Tones with her. Will tells Bert he should run against Sue in the election, and Bert is like, oh, say less. Puck comes by to hang out with Beth a bit and sings a little song for her. And he's not trying to raise Beth with Quinn, so he tells Shelby that Quinn planted a bunch of bad things in her home and called CPS on her ass. And for once, I support his decision. Quinn should be out partying, not raising a child. And she should also see a therapist on the side too. Shelby is beyond stressed out. The last thing she needs is an 18-year-old as her op, so Puck tells her he's always here to help if she needs it. Finn has been mentoring Rory because Rory's the only person that looks up to Finn at this point, so he has Rory keeping tabs on Santana and Brittany because they low-key want to leave Glee. He finds out from Rory that Santana blackmailed him into getting Brittany to quit, and Finn is trying to put a stop to it, but he calls Brittany an idiot, and she's tired of everyone calling her stupid. So her and Santana join Mercedes in the Trouble Tones. And now Glee just lost their best dancer and all the seasoning from their performances. Just tragic. But at least the Trouble Tones are the new girl group on the block. Finn apologizes to Brittany for being mean and she forgives him. Rory sings a song that literally no one asked for. And Puck and Shelby end up kissing. So you kissed an 18-year-old because he was nice to you? Okay, so the last diabolical episode I have of season 3 is episode 12, The Spanish Teacher. Will is still teaching Spanish even though he barely knows the language or the culture, and he thought it was a good idea to sing La Cucaracha while wearing a sombrero in class. How he hasn't been fired for the chaos he's unleashed on the school is still a mystery to me. Obviously, someone complained about it to Figgins, and for some reason, he's quite perplexed. Figgins also tells him that he's gonna pick one teacher for the tenure position, and Will volunteers himself as if anyone asked for his opinion. Figgins tells him that if he wants it, then he needs to fix his little class issues. So Will enrolls himself in a Spanish class to learn about it, which is quite confusing to me because how was he allowed to teach it? He starts the class and he's quite terrible. It's very embarrassing. He talks to the Spanish teacher played by Ricky Martin, who hates his job because it's depressing. And he tells Will how he would love to teach kids. So Will wants to bring David to the Glee Club so he can teach the kids a little Spanish so he can get that tenure position. Sue is trying to have a baby, so she goes to the Glee boys to try and poach them for their sperm. I feel like at this point the show is just doing anything because Sue also asks Will for his sperm. Sue would rather be run over by a truck than to carry Will's sperm, so what's really going on here? Figgins also tells Sue that someone complained about her teaching methods, so he brings someone to co-coach the Cheerios with her.
Sue, this is the talented and enchanting Olympian Roz Washington, coach of the McKinley synchronized swimming team.
Glee really brought guest stars from all walks of life, and that's what makes it superior. Will brings David to the class to teach the kids some Latin flavor and whatnot.
To sing in Spanish with duende, which, yes, literally means dwarf, but metaphorically it means to have Spanish soul, to be filled with Spanish passion.
I really despise this man. So David sings Sexy and I Know It to teach the kids Spanish? I'm not joking when I say this might be the worst performance the Glee Club has ever done. When did everyone forget how to dance? Sam and Mercedes are going through their own dilemma because they kissed, but she has a boyfriend and says she isn't a cheater. So Emma tells them to not speak to each other for a week to find out what their true feelings are. Nene is adding some flavor to the Cheerios with new music and new choreo, and even has Becky breaking her back crumping. Sue is not having this, especially when she's trying to have a baby, and Nene says one of the most iconic lines of the entire show.
I am getting pregnant, and then I am having a baby. What holds a vagina?
Rachel is having a little girl talk with Kurt and Mercedes and tells them that her and Finn are engaged. And Kurt thinks the both of them are stupid as hell. The kids spend an entire week singing songs in Spanish, including whatever this is by Sam. Sue was on the hunt for who ratted on her to Figgins and thinks it's Santana and goes off on her. And Santana does not play, so she gets her as well.
He lodged a complaint about my teaching tactics with Principal Figgins, possibly derailing my bid for tenure just when I'm trying to have a baby.
A baby? With whose vagina?
Hey. Will is prepping his own song for Spanish Week, and Emma is trying to show him her cool new pamphlet she made. He does not have time for her games right now because he's trying to provide for the family, and she's like, nobody asked you to do that.
Okay, I think I can take care of myself. You know what? I'm sorry. I just wanted to show you my new pamphlets. I'm really proud of them.
They're silly, Emma.
She's not the one that was wearing a sombrero in class, but okay. Santana and David do a duet for La Isla Bonita, and they obviously eat on the number. I think this might be the only one I actually like this episode. Will comes out wearing a bullfighting outfit looking all kinds of ridiculous, and it's quite concerning how he really thought he ate here. So he finds out that Santana was the one that told on him, and she's like, yes, and what about it?
Yeah, and I do it all over again after that performance.
You're messing with adult things here, Santana. This is my job. This is my life.
This is my education, and it's not a joke to me, although it seems to be one to you.
Why is a child teaching him about cultural appropriation? Someone fire him immediately. So Will tells David that he's been offered the Spanish teacher role and he's gonna do history, which I still don't think is a good choice for him, but we move. Sue finds out it was Becky who told on her, and Becky says she only did it because she thinks Sue isn't focused anymore. But how could Sue ever be mad at Becky? Of course she forgives her. Emma ends up getting tenure after her pamphlets helped an entire football team with good hygiene practices, so good for her. Season 3 doesn't really move me in terms of songs and storylines. It's quite boring, to be honest, but I do have a couple of honorable mentions. The first one I have is episode 6 because Finn not only outs Santana in front of the entire school, but to the entire Lima town.
Hey, Santana, why don't you just come out of the closet? You know, I think I know why you're so good at tearing everybody else down. It's because you're constantly tearing yourself down because you can't admit to everybody that you're in love with Brittany and she might not love you back.
And I think he was forgiven a little too quickly for that one. And the last one I have is episode 19, the prom episode. Brittany was running a dinosaur-themed prom, which is actually very on brand for her. And Quinn miraculously healed from her car accident injury that put her in a wheelchair through the power of song. I actually had a lot of fun doing this. I normally have these lengthy conversations about Glee in my daily life to people that will never understand, but I know y'all will get the assignment. Feel free to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel, and also follow me on some of my other socials. I promise I get into way more fun in my personal life that YouTube will never see because I try to maintain some level of decorum here. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.